I feel really rude, and I don't want to like not seem like I don't want to cooperate. And if it was up to me, I would just tell you guys everything. But
It was winter 2021, and police were on the hunt for a couple who had fled a horrifying crime scene. Two cars riddled with bullets, covered in blood. One man lay there, life already having left him. A woman, pregnant, crawling to try and get help. And if she was gonna make it, no one knew. This late February, gunpowder was still in the air. Police, they stood in the snow, and a couple were frantically packing their bags, gathering all they could as they knew they needed to get as far away as possible from what they had just done. Days later, the police knew who they were looking for. A hunt would begin, taking them from the New World to the Old, and deep into Central Europe, from the Czech Republic to Slovakia to Hungary.
we offered Interpol to tell them that we'll fly them private, but Interpol declined the offer.
But at least she was offering to fly the investigators home private, so that's nice. Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike. And in this old video, we're going to Toronto. Good to see you. Been a minute. To talk about a story that takes us away from there. Sorry. See, there was this power couple in the city. They thought so, anyway. Oliver Karafa and Yun Luli. More like Yum Luli, am I right? We'll get into it. I don't know what I'm saying. Sometimes. And when a man got in the way of their ambitions, he had to go, because this power couple were straight from HE double hockey sticks. Now, you and I, let's give it a go. So, I know I said Toronto in the beginning, but we're actually going to Hamilton, Ontario. I know, right? Hamilton is a city just south of Toronto proper, home to around 500,000 folk. It's got that mix of industrial grit that Springsteen won't shut the hell up about, and quiet suburban neighborhoods. To the east of Hamilton lies a community, name of Stony Creek. An older neighborhood, and you know what? It's a bit of alright, thank you ma'am. The talk of the town being them places for good eating. Plazas, warehouses, and pizzerias, funnily enough. Which is almost nothing to do with, I'm gonna talk about, so moving swiftly on. How about to the more industrial north side of the creek, as the locals call it. I call it. It was Sunday, February 28, 2021, and at a warehouse for a company called Colonial Pillars. Which sorta does like exactly what it says in the tin, because it's hard to get good pillars these days. A couple was just pulling in. It was Sunday. The warehouse was sitting quiet. No employees, no business traffic, just security cameras mounted high and a wide backlot that wasn't easily visible from the main road. Convenient. Tyler Pratt and his pregnant girlfriend Jordan Romano were not there for no big old pillars. They were there to meet someone. Tyler was to look at some property for an investment business, and he was there to meet his friend. In fact, Tyler and Jordan were even bringing pizza to share at this meeting with their friends. His friend who already owed him $500,000. Folks, it is springtime. Finally. You know, this winter, it felt particularly long, particularly crap, but sure, you can't beat it when the sun is back. Sun's out, guns out, time to get out there doing your thing. And you know what's a help? Being able to focus. You know, whether it's on your commute, the vacay baby, the work, the whatevskis. And personally, to keep me in the zone every day, I've been using Raycon's Everyday Earbuds Classic. This message's sponsor. They're my go-to and they will be yours, because active noise cancellation, it's the bee's knees. And guess what? I'll let you in on a little secret. They're 20% off right now. They are the perfect companion for refreshing your routine this spring. Whether it's work or calls or just listening to podcasts and music, Raycon's Everyday Earbuds Classic, they block out distractions and keep you in the zone. 1, 2...
Mike, I'm already recording.
99. 100. Whew. Do you really think I could have beaten my personal record of 100 pull-ups if I wasn't wearing Raycon's Everyday Earbuds Classic? Come on now. Podcasts are crystal clear, the music is crisp, your ears will thank you. You're welcome, ears. I hope they heard that because noise cancellation, I can't hear myself. Everyday earbuds, folks, they come in a whole host of colors. You got blue, you got rose gold, even cool mint. Don't eat them, though they do look delicious. And get this, they have, for a limited time only, some exclusive designs. I'm talking Hershey's Silver Foil, Cotton Candy. Raycon's Everyday Earbuds Classic are packed with upgrades. They have active noise cancellation, whether it's working out or just plain working, you can stay focused. Multi-point connectivity, so you can pair with 2 devices at once, and a super comfortable ergonomic design that stays put no matter what you're doing. And Raycon delivers the same premium audio quality as the big brands, but at half the price. Add in over 3 million happy customers and a 30-day happiness guarantee, there is zero reason to overpay. It is springtime, which means it's time for spring cleaning, so refresh your routine with Raycon's Everyday Earbuds Classic. Click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/chapter to get 20% off during their spring refresh sale. Once again, that is buyraycon.com/chapter to get 20% off. Thank you so much to Raycon for sponsoring this whole video. Now let's get back to it. The couple arrived at 5:25 p.m. and pulled into the rear of the property, away from the cameras. They were supposed to look at a potential investment opportunity and then head to dinner all together afterwards. It was casual, business mixed with friendship, that kind of thing. But there was a tension under the surface relating to a hefty amount of money being owed. Money that was being requested back, but there was neither hide nor hair of that money. What happened over the following 30 minutes is sort of a mystery still. But those 30 ended, with Tyler being shot 6 times and his pregnant girlfriend Jordan being shot once in the heart, leaving both of them to bleed out on the ground as their car was stolen. The killers, both of them, drove past the scene numerous times to make sure the job was done. However, on their final trip by, they saw that Jordan was missing. A passerby had seen Jordan crawling towards the road and went for help.
Hamilton police say the shooting happened at around 7 o'clock yesterday evening, here around this business on Arvin Avenue near Millen Road in Stony Creek. It's a busy road and an industrial area. Staff Sergeant Jim Callender says someone saw an injured woman near the front of the business and called police.
Upon further investigation, the Hamilton Police Service then located a male who was deceased at the scene, just to the rear of that premise there.
Police arrived to the scene 2 hours after Tyler and Jordan first did. Tyler was already dead. Jordan almost, and she would lose the baby she was 13 weeks pregnant with.
Man who was killed.
It's my understanding right now that he was in the process of moving from British Columbia here to the Greater Toronto area.
Callender says the 26-year-old injured woman is in serious condition. Police are looking for a newer model white Land Rover SUV.
And we believe that vehicle likely has some body damage to it. In the lower kind of panel area to it. Just from the evidence at the scene, that's what we believe.
Police are asking drivers with dash cameras who were in the area from 7 to 7:20 last night to contact investigators. The motive behind this shooting is still unknown.
Now, Jordan surviving hadn't been part of the plan because, as you can imagine, after life-saving surgery and 3 days in a coma, she woke and was able to tell who had attempted to kill her, killed her unborn baby, and killed her boyfriend.
Hamilton police say these are the 2 suspects connected to the city's 3rd homicide, and the pair are on the run.
And it was their good friends, married couple, Oliver Karafa and Lucy Lee. However, as the investigation began, the police, they were on the back foot. See, Oliver and Lucy had learned that Jordan had survived. She was in a coma, but was due to wake up in a couple of days, and that was no good for them. So they thought, shit, yikes. Best not to hang around.
Police say he and Lee were living in Toronto, but are no longer believed to be there.
We believe they have left the Greater Toronto area, including...
When police finally knew who had committed the murder and the attempted murder, both Oliver and Lucy were long gone. So why had Oliver and Lucy done this? Well, wasn't there just that little matter of owing Tyler Pratt $500,000? And were they gonna pay him back? How about no? Yun Lu Lee, who went by Lucy Lee, was originally from Shenzhen, China, born in 1995. A triplet, as you can see, with big intentions and even bigger boob jobs. The family moved from China to Toronto when the girls were still quite young. The dad, he ran a driving school for Chinese immigrants, and the mom, she ran a wealth management company, which included a life. Also been a while, good to see you. Her mom, Winnie Lau, would become a prominent business person, not only in Toronto, but also back in China, rubbing elbows with the elite. Her main gig, right, was selling 20-year life insurance policies that allowed clients, once they paid the initial premium in Canada, to move money overseas without the tax man getting a little taste of Rooney. And it all turned out pretty successful. Lucy and her sisters, they had a very affluent life growing up. Much needed, because plastic surgery ain't cheap, and you got 3 of them motherfuckers wanting to be TikTokers.
Sibling anthem check.
Hi, I am the oldest, I'm the leader of the pack, and all my other siblings just be riding off my back. I'm basically the parent, I keep everyone in line. I've never had a hand-me-down, my shoes they always shine.
You can look at the clouds, you can look at the sun.
I'm not sure if they're robots or just like the look. Lucy Lee would later say, growing up, that her own mother, she was one of them tiger moms, which, is a phrase usually related to Asian parents having high expectations and being quite strict with their kids. And Lucy fulfilled those high expectations for a bit, selling life insurance policies. I don't know where this is going, but I'm excited. And at the same time, Lucy and her sisters, Jane and Caitlin, they're also running an Instagram and a TikTok. Holy monkey!
We're back!
New outfit.
New outfit. It was a quick change and now we're back.
Sorry, fellas, just gonna pixelate that so YouTube doesn't execute me for showing two mucho grande tatarinos. Their Instagram and TikTok got semi-successful, which made him a little bit of change from sponsored posts and all of that. It's all gone now, but there are still a good few photos online. Some slightly not safe for work. Though they never whip those puppies out. Good to know that if we ever run out of fossil fuels, there's enough plastic in them to keep us going for a while.
I'm Jane, this is Caitlin, and this is Lucy. Guess who's the oldest? We'll give you guys 5 seconds. Guys, we look the same. How are they gonna guess who's oldest?
The reason Lucy and her younger triplets started this up was that Lucy was struggling to sell life insurance policies, attract big clients, and thought she needed more life experience. And so, the 3 of them took a break from work, with Mom saying, okie dokie, here's $5,000 a month. You can take 2 years off work and find yourself. $5,000 a month from Mommy? I mean, I'd find the shit out of myself for that much. I mean, that's a pretty good deal though for like sitting around, looking flash on social media. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. That's $5,000 from a demanding, high-achieving mom. $5,000 to sit around and do absolutely fucking nothing. That's when the TikTok started, but it doesn't seem like it ever really took off. I mean, there's a live Ask Me Anything, and it's sort of awkward because it takes a really long time for anybody to ask the triplets a question.
Guys, we want questions. We like questions. Others joined. What? Any questions? No. No.
Tell them where you're from.
We're from Toronto.
Lucy never went back to work though. When Mommy wasn't paying for her stuff, her future husband Oliver was. And speaking of, now it was in school that Lucy met her future husband Oliver Karafa. Oliver was also an immigrant, like Lucy, from Slovakia, moving to Canada with his family come 2001. And he was no bueno from the get-go. So Oliver and Lucy, they dated in school before they actually ended up breaking up because Oliver, he wanted a little piece of Lucy pie. She said no, so Oliver then just went and slept with one of her best friends. I don't know what to tell you. When he turned 19 years of age, this was in 2012, Oliver crashed his car. Now Oliver was fine, but his friend sitting in the passenger seat was killed in that crash, which resulted in our boy Ollie getting a prison sentence because he was drunk as shit.
The 19-year-old Toronto man accused of drunk driving and killing his friend in a high-speed crash earlier this week has now been granted bail.
Now, the 19-year-old walked out of the College Park courthouse just moments ago in the same clothes he was wearing when he was arrested early Tuesday morning, charged with the impaired driving causing death of his 24-year-old friend, his fitness trainer, David Chang. Karafa must live under house arrest.
He was sentenced to 5 years for impaired driving causing death and criminal negligence causing death. He was also prohibited from driving for 15 years. He initially applied for parole in January 2016, and this was denied due to incidents he had in prison. With the parole decision reading, and what a keen insight this is, the board suggested your behaviors since being incarcerated are indicative of a young man with an abnormal sense of entitlement. You agreed. You present as a person who believes rules made for society are for everyone else to live by, and not you. No shit. I mean, even as you can see in these news reports at the time, he just seemed like this real stuck-up little piece of shit. Everybody said at the time he was far more worried about going to prison than he was for his friend who was killed in the car accident he caused. It was around 2018, 1 year after being released on full parole, that Oliver and Lucy reconnected over Instagram. And boy howdy did they ever. They were living together after their second date. I'm still not sharing straws after the second date. The couple, they got this condo together. Oliver worked in sort of a little bit of everything. He was a salesman, so what he could do, he did. And he often did business back in Europe, where his parents had returned to. The couple, Oliver and Lucy, they even got married on one of those trips to Europe. And it was all very spur of the moment, but I guess that'll tell you how much they got going on, up here. It was spring 2020 in the depths of the pandemic, and the couple, they were living together and they were kind of going stir crazy. So they decided to go on a little holiday back to Europe, back to the motherland of Slovakia. Now Oliver, he could go no problem because he was a European citizen, but Lucy, she couldn't go because she wasn't European, and in the pandemic, they weren't allowing non-nationals to fly. So literally while they were at the airport in the line to board the plane, they found a marriage officiator on Zoom and got married there and then. They then spent a couple of months in Europe before coming back to Canada. And it was when he returned to Toronto that Tyler realized there was a lot of money to be made. But you know what they say, you gotta spend money to make it. He needed a whale. Enter Tyler Pratt. See, Oliver's idea, and what a whopper it was, during his time in Europe, he saw that hospitals and medical centers, all of that, they were in dire need of personal protective equipment. Couldn't get enough masks, gloves, that sort of thing. So Oliver, being the good soul that he is, he thought to himself, wow, millions of people are dying and people's lives are being ruined. How can I make money off of this? I'll buy PPE equipment in bulk in Canada, ship it to Europe, sell it at a premium. Legally ain't nothing wrong with that, pal. Just morally, you're below a Cocker Spaniel. So a mutual friend introduced Oliver to Tyler Pratt, who was a high-level dealer of the devil's dandruff. Tyler was like a multi-millionaire from dealing. He even made like $1 million in one day. Now, Tyler always described as a very nice guy, but I mean, he's still a drug dealer at the end of the day. He wasn't like a street-level drug dealer. He just made lots of calls and did big shipments in and out of the area. Tyler was originally from Vancouver, having 2 kids there, but had recently moved to Toronto with his pregnant stripper girlfriend, Jordan Romano. Tyler seemed to be scarier than he actually was. He came from a large and loving family in BC. He coached kids hockey, and along with selling the devil's lettuce and dandruff and all those other devil's body parts, he had a diamond company and a wellness supplement company. But his real income, those good old nose clams. Jordan herself, she was from Ontario and moved back and forth between Toronto and Vancouver. And she would say her fiance Tyler was always somebody who put his children first. And come 2020, he was looking to start to go legit, move away from, well, the stuff that'll get you 20 to life. Tyler and Jordan had a good-ass life. They took care of each other. No issues, never. They had been together for about a year by the time of, well, what happened. Oliver and Tyler, they had a meeting together, they sized each other up, and Tyler thought Oliver's plan of sort of extorting medical people back in Europe Thought it was a great idea. Fuck 'em. Within just a few days of meeting, Tyler sent Oliver $170,000 to invest to start buying PPE supplies in bulk. And over the following few months, he would send him a further like $330,000. Oliver and Tyler, they kept in touch. They became best friends. Ever, they started hanging outside of doing business deals together. They ate poutine together. They went to Tim Hortons together. They went to Leafs games together. I'm running out of Canadian things. They bought each other gifts. They talked about opening DAC clubs together. They had a beautiful, blossoming business relationship together, Tyler Pratt and Oliver Karafa. Not just a business relationship, a personal relationship. It was all gravy, except for one little thing. It was actually quite hard to get PPE equipment in bulk in Canada because, can I shock you, Canada also had a bit of a pandemic problem, and hospitals and people in the area in Toronto, they also needed that shit. So to cover up this bad investment, Oliver decided to, quite simply, lie. Lie to Tyler about what his money was doing. On the side, Oliver was trying to set up all these other business ventures. None of them worked. And after a while, Tyler was kind of curious about his money. Now, what Oliver did, he would forge these bank statements from bank accounts in Europe showing how much money they were making selling this PPE equipment in Europe. Oliver would tell Tyler, oh, they were making like 70 grand per shipment. Oliver told Tyler and his girlfriend Jordan, I have $3 million with your name on it. And yeah, as you can imagine over time, Tyler has invested $500,000 of his own money, expecting profits of $3 million plus. After a while, he was like, money me, money now, where money me? He wanted to start getting a taste of those profits he was hearing about, but not seeing. Eventually putting a deadline of March 1st, 2021. And the thing about Tyler is, always described as a very nice guy. Still a drug dealer, still involved with people who kill each other. If he doesn't get his money, he's not gonna take Oliver to court. Oliver started panicking, and it was Lucy who came up with a stall tactic. Life insurance. She offered to set up Tyler and Jordan with a policy that was worth $1.5 million. If they paid the first premium in cash of that life insurance policy, the profits of the business in Europe would pay every premium after that. So essentially, they were getting their profits from this business tax-free. And also, Lucy told them they could take out a loan against that life insurance policy. All of what I just said was complete horse shit, and Lucy forged documents to show them this is how it could go. Plus, I just can't resist the good old life insurance policy. However, that didn't stall for too long, and as the day neared, when Oliver needed Tyler's money, he began to think of, maybe a different plan here to make Tyler go away and also not destroy his own reputation. Oliver and Lucy set up the meet for Tyler and Jordan, February 28. They arranged to meet at that warehouse, telling Tyler that it was actually owned by Lucy's rich mom. And Oliver said he had another business venture he wanted to show Tyler. He wanted to turn the warehouse into a weed growing operation. Tyler said, sure thing, and they arranged to go out for dinner afterward. Then, the day of, to cover up their tracks for the planned double murder investigation that was coming, both Oliver and Lucy left their phones at home to make it seem like they never went anywhere. That day, Oliver left the apartment via the stairs, which had no camera. Lucy left via the elevator, wearing a wig she'd used in one of her Instagram posts. Oliver actually switched cell phone SIM cards with a friend so he could contact Tyler and go to him, while the SIM registered to him would say he was elsewhere. He switched with a friend named Fei Chin, and then later on that day, after the upcoming shooting, they switched back. So, as you can imagine, this would make it look like Fei Chin was at the scene of the shooting, according to phone records. He then bought a new car, which he drove to the meeting so his own wouldn't be recognized on CCTV. And even before the shooting, he had arranged for his new car and Tyler's own car to be broken down. Lucy's own Mercedes safely back at their condo. They then waited round back for Tyler and Jordan, who had brought pizza to share with their friends. Oliver and Lucy met with Tyler and Jordan. They were supposed to show off a grow house. Tyler even brought money himself for the possible investment. and Oliver started bullshitting. He said there was a realtor who was supposed to meet them there to show them around. Lucy was even sent to find a lockbox for the warehouse key. Lucy and Jordan sat in the car, Jordan saying Lucy was unusually quiet and poorly dressed, as she usually dressed to the nines. I guess Lucy didn't want to get blood on her nice clothes. However, Tyler soon got a bad feeling. At that meeting, Tyler began to realize that he was being bullshitted, that something was up, and he started to get angry. It was then Oliver pulled out a 9mm and pointed it first at Jordan, who was still sitting in the car, and he opened up on her. He then turned it on Tyler Pratt, killing him, shooting him dead. Jordan would say that, although her memory was cloudy, Oliver's face suddenly changed, and he whipped out the iron, pointing it first at Jordan, who was still inside the car. Oliver said to Jordan, "Get out of here, Joe," then immediately started shooting her, so not much of a help. Jordan panicked, she put the car into reverse, while Tyler remained, and all she heard her fiancé say was, "What the fuck, bro?" Then Jordan says she blacked out. Next thing she remembered was Oliver dragging her out of the car and dumping her on the ice-cold pavement. Oliver and Lucy took their phones, they dragged Jordan out of the car, stole their car, and off they went, later abandoning both Tyler's car and their own newly bought car. They returned to the scene a few times, the final time noticing that Jordan was no longer there. Jordan hadn't been killed, she'd crawled to safety, and the cops were coming. Now Oliver and Lucy realised they were supremely screwed and made plans to leave Canada. They knew they had to run. CCTV would show them leaving their condo at 3 AM on March 1st, about 9 hours after the shooting. They then drove to Muskoka and parked at a general store, leaving Lucy's car there. They stayed at this general store for a few hours till it opened at around 7 AM. The couple then soon went in, used the restroom to buy some drinks and some snacks, and the staff remembered this good-looking couple, this guy with brown hair, this Asian woman, and then they left once again. Employees at this store would later find a garbage bag. Inside was a blonde wig, bloody clothing, and 49mm bullets. Oliver and Lucy arranged for a taxi to take them to Toronto. They then got a subway to Union Station, and from there travelled up to Montreal, where they sat in silence as a bus brought them to the airport. They arrived at 4:40 PM. They boarded a flight to Germany that connected them on to Prague. Lucy carrying nothing. Oliver a bag filled with about $17,000. That was money that belonged to Tyler Pratt. He had brought that for the business venture Oliver was showing him. Instead, he was shot dead. In the meantime, the police were trying to solve this shooting. They initially arrested Oliver's friend, Fei Chin, as his phone said he was there. But he was able to explain that Oliver had switched SIM cards with him earlier on that day. Something I'm sure he was very appreciative of. It was 3 days after that Jordan woke from her coma and could identify who had shot them, Oliver Karafa and Lucy Lee. By March 4th, warrants and public announcements were issued for their arrest.
Lou Lee, 25 years old, are both wanted on the charges of first-degree murder and attempted murder.
The warrants are related to a double shooting in this industrial area of Stony Creek Sunday night.
An investigator posted an appeal to social media today but was not available for questions.
We believe that Karafa and Lee are aware that they are wanted in relation to the incident and are actively evading police. Oliver and Lucy, if you're seeing this, we encourage you to turn yourself in.
Karafa was in jail until 2017 for this 2012 drunk driving crash in which he was found responsible for the death of a friend. According to the Hamilton Spectator, he is originally from Slovakia in Eastern Europe, and his parents returned to live there. The report also says Lee's family reached out to her through Chinese language media, urging her to cooperate with police. In their appeal on social media today, Hamilton police tagged several European news agencies.
We are working closely with international authorities, and we are positive that our investigation will lead to your whereabouts. We will continue to relentlessly pursue you.
By this stage, the couple were deep in Europe. After arriving in Prague, ahead of the news of them being wanted, they stayed with a business partner before getting an Airbnb. They then took a train to Slovakia and stayed with Oliver's parents. It was by then that the warrants were out, and they were alerted. The police are after them, including Oliver's parents. However, Oliver's parents tried to hide Oliver and Lucy, later saying they'd already lost their son once to the Canadian justice system. They didn't want to go through that again. I mean, fucking hell, lads. And they took them to a friend's house, where, according to Lucy, two strange men appeared claiming to be Europol officers, and were telling Oliver and Lucy that they could make the warrants disappear. Oliver's dad paid them about 250,000 euros. Lucy's mom about 200,000 euros. So Oliver and Lucy's parents paid, in total, to make them disappear, about 550,000 United States dollars. They definitely got suckered by some human trafficking gangsters. The more the merrier. The more bad things happens to them, the merrier we will be. Oliver and Lucy were then whisked away. They lived under fake passports at this time, Oliver going by Jakob Nichte, and Lucy by Ying Feng Nichte. They were eventually taken to Magyarország, across the border, and ultimately landed in an Airbnb in Big Budapest. And then, they were just chilling. In fact, Oliver and Lucy were told that the warrants had gone away, and they could just act normally. However, they were not. And on June 12th, 2021, bounty hunters from the KORNNI, which is the National Investigation Bureau of the Standby Police, some kind of hot shit Hungarian police, they tracked them down in the party district of Budapest and nabbed them in the middle of the night. They had been working closely with Canadian authorities. Womp womp. They had been on the run for 103 days.
The massive fugitive hunt ended here in scenic Budapest. New images show the suspects flanked by Hungarian police in a part of the city known as the Party District. Police say the two traveled through Slovakia, the Czech Republic, and on to Hungary, where they were surrounded as they walked down the street, after Hamilton police got some information and relayed it to their counterparts overseas.
Now Lucy, she immediately waived extradition and was sent back to Canada. Oliver, though, he was like, eh. He thought he'd just chill in Europe for a little bit longer. He actually wanted to go back to Slovakia because he was saying this, of course, that Toronto's not safe. It's very, very corrupt, and his life would be in danger if they sent him back to Canada. But Lucy seemed like she was actually happy to be back in Canada, and Lucy, dirty little dog, she turned into a bit of a tattletale.
So right off the bat, you're not impressed with Tyler and...
Right off the bat, I say do not associate with these people because they're not good for our social image, and because she's a known Hamilton stripper, and Tyler is known in Vancouver as like a scary gang member, according to some mutual friends that I feel really rude, and I don't want to not seem like I don't want to cooperate, and if it was up to me I would just tell you guys everything, but my lawyer and my mom strongly instructed me not to say anything, and they said that they're on my defense while you guys are not on my defense. So I don't know, I just feel like I shouldn't say anything until I speak with them on Wednesday. I think they said that they're gonna come see me on Wednesday.
She spoke a lot in the police interview. Now she would say, I'm not talking about the murder, an attempted murder, but she kind of wouldn't shut the fuck up about literally everything else.
Oliver has a PPE business, so that part I knew.
Yeah.
And was he looking for investors in the PPE business?
I have no idea, because Oliver and my relationship, he deals with the finances in the business, but he doesn't really, he tells me the gist of it, but he never really tells me the figures, what he's doing, and it's always been like that since me and Oliver's been dating.
How long have you guys been together?
We've been together for almost 3 years, but we've known each other since high school.
She was complaining that when she was extradited from Hungary back to Canada, she had to fly economy, like a pleb, rather than the first class she was usually used to.
Flying coach was a little out, a little bit.
And I feel really bad for them. officers that had to come to get me because they have so many stopovers. And I feel like I really inconvenienced them.
Well, I'll tell you what. They got to spend a couple of days. They were our service was good enough to, because they had to go. There's only so many flights, so they had to be there. I think a day or two before they met with you.
Yeah.
And our service allowed them to take some annual leave time, and they got to spend some time seeing the city and seeing the sights. And I had a chance to talk to both of them for 5 or 10 minutes, and they weren't inconvenienced, so you don't worry about that. They're
yeah, me and my mom was really concerned about that, and we offered Interpol to tell them that we'll fly them private, but Interpol declined the offer.
Yeah, we can't accept things from things like that. We have to do things. We have to follow the rules.
Lucy claimed to know nothing about the scams, which already sounds like a lie. In fact, she said she didn't even want Oliver to do business with Tyler, setting up her defense as an unwilling accomplice. Lucy was later granted bail, which is mad because she participated in a bit of an L murder and attempted murder. Her mom, her rich mom, wealth management life insurance lady, had to cough up $2.7 million, but Lucy was out on bail for a bit.
Bail was granted today for Lucy Lee, one half of a Toronto couple facing murder charges in connection with a shooting in Stoney Creek last year.
Young Lucy Lou Lee was released from custody today after her family pledged $2.7 million in bail.
For about 4 months, Lucy was out of jail till she decided to just go partying and start communicating with people she was forbidden. It was forbidden for her to communicate with these people. She did anyway. She went back to jail. Her mother had this to say about her breaking her bond conditions. She never imagined for a moment that her daughter would do something as thoughtless, selfish, irresponsible. Bitch, please, she killed somebody and fled to Europe. In the meantime, Oliver arrived back in Canada, the trial beginning in 2024. It was 3 years since the shooting. They were both tried at the same time. Oliver's defense pointed the finger at Tyler being a scary guy, connected to dangerous people, and that Tyler had threatened Oliver in the past. The shooting was in self-defense. Tyler once said he would break Oliver's legs. He knew biker gangs, the Hells Angels, the defense said. Lucy, she laid it all at Oliver's feet, saying she didn't know the killing was going to happen. She was scared, she didn't know what to do. She knew Tyler was connected to scary people, so she needed to go on the run, yada yada yada. She testified, Oliver didn't. She didn't know the shooting was gonna happen. Of course she didn't. That's why she went to the elevator in disguise and avoided showing her face on CCTV. She said Oliver told her to do this. She then ran away with Oliver, who told her she was in danger. But she didn't actually know what had happened. She never saw anything. And the defense really tried to portray her as this sort of ditzy bimbo who was naive and tricked into doing or helping do something horrifying. Oliver was the mastermind. Lucy just wanted to doom scroll on TikTok. In fairness, in that interview, she does seem quite stupid. Lucy would say at trial, quote, "I don't think I'm clever. Sitting here today, I think I'm maybe the stupidest person in this room. In the world, maybe. I married a guy who shot not just a woman, but a pregnant woman, as well as another guy. And I missed so many red flags. I continued to be in love with him. And I really feel like an idiot right now." I mean, that's sort of Lucy there in a nutshell now, you know? She's on trial for a murder and attempted murder, yet she acts like she got scammed out of 20 bucks. Sharp as a cue ball, this one. Ultimately, both were found guilty on all charges.
Lucy Lee and Oliver Karafa have both been found guilty of first-degree murder and attempted murder in the killing of 39-year-old Tyler Pratt and shooting of his pregnant girlfriend, Jordan Romano. First-degree murder carries an automatic life sentence in prison, with 25 years before parole can be considered. The judge also sentenced the pair to 15 years each for attempted murder, concurrent to their life sentences.
Both Oliver and Lucy were sentenced to life in prison with no parole for 25 years. Both remain in prison to this day. Oliver still filing appeals. Lucy is searching for a new lawyer. Jordan, one of the victims in this case, from her TikTok seems to have moved to Miami and started fresh. I think that's fair for her to do so. And Shanae, folks, that is the story, the beautiful story of Oliver and Lucy, dumb and dumb or heart to think they could get any more cold-blooded or stupid as they did with what they did, a senseless tragic murder. But you know what? I'm always amazed. They MacGyvered it. They figured it out to do the stupidest things possible, including fleeing to Europe and getting fake passports. You know, while they were in Europe, they get involved with some kind of shady underground group that like hid them for a while. Oliver's dad had to pay 250,000 euros to this group. Lucy's mom, a further 200,000 euros. It was like they smuggled them across borders, gave them fake passports, and in the end, that money did sweet F all. Which is great. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Really means a lot to me that you're here watching this whole video, as always. Thank you. If you're looking for some more of That Chapter, you can check out the That Chapter Patreon. $2 a month, early access, ad-free, all videos, plus Patreon exclusive videos and a Discord. Or you can check out the That Chapter podcast, which has a podcast exclusive story every single Monday morning. But until the next one, please take care of each other and yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out.